Hi, welcome to another episode of ColdFusion. This is Abraham Shafi. He created a simple app that helps users meet their friends in real life. His app, called In Real Life, or IRL for short, was valued at $1.5 billion. It boasted 20 million users. You'd be forgiven for thinking that this is the next Facebook or Instagram in the making, but there was a dirty secret hidden behind the success. In April of 2023, Shafi came under investigation for alleged misconduct. A few weeks later, an investigation discovered that the app had a very big problem. 95% of its users weren't real at all. That's right, the investors were scammed. It's insane, but there's some questions here. How did this billion-dollar scandal unfold? And what lessons can be learned?
You are watching ColdFusion TV.
Son of an Egyptian immigrant, IRL CEO Abraham Shafi was inspired by his father's resilience. In the 1980s, his father fled war-torn Cairo and made a home in the United States. Shafi wanted to prove himself, so he set out to do so. In 2009, he attended UC Berkeley, taking classes in anthropology, business, and computer engineering. In 2012, he would drop out to co-found a social recruiting platform. It was called GetTalent.com. After selling the company, Shafi's next project would be called Gather. It had a similar vision to IRL, but even at these early stages, there was problems. Massive problems. Gather would come under scrutiny for spamming users' contact lists. This was an attempt to boost growth. Frustrated users took to Reddit to air their grievances. Quote, "First, it asks for access to your contacts, then uploads every contact from your phone to their systems, where they can send out spam messages to get them to join. Rinse and repeat. Got to wonder why you can't even launch the app without first giving it access to your contacts. Why does it want that so bad?" Some of these posts got the attention of Shafi himself. He responded with long messages to defend his platform, but a key quote was, quote, "We didn't handle growing correctly, but took these lessons to heart and are committed to not repeating the same mistakes." This didn't go well. Users pointed out that what he was doing was illegal, plain and simple. Eventually, the Gather app was scrapped amidst a steaming pile of controversy. But this didn't matter because Shafi had something bigger in store. Shafi would realize that Gen Z doesn't use Facebook, so why not take the events planning section of Facebook, mix it with a group chat function, and call it a day? And with that idea in 2017, IRL was born. The vision was to help its users group message and plan meetups in real life. Because according to IRL, the best way to solve society's loneliness epidemic is with another mobile app. The platform was designed exclusively for connecting people through shared interests. When Shafi showed investors, they were impressed. The firm Floodgate, who were early investors in Twitter, and the Founders Fund, who previously invested in Airbnb, Facebook, and Lyft, were keen to give Shafi money. In June of 2021, another $170 million was raised, and this was led by SoftBank. If the name SoftBank sounds familiar to you, there's a good reason why. They've made headlines in recent years for just having one bad investment after another. This includes WeWork and FTX. So, while from an investment perspective, IRL had all the potential of being the new golden child, in a bid to gain app users, IRL, just like its predecessor, Gather, would also engage in spamming. This included sending out unsolicited text messages to the contacts of users. They were called nominations. On downloading the app, users had to give the app access to their address book. From there, they were asked a series of multiple choice questions, with 4 of the user's contacts as possible answers. If those friends weren't on the app would send them a text message to let them know that they've been nominated. But it wouldn't tell you who nominated you. Of course, in order to find that out, you would have to create an IRL account. Unsurprisingly, everyone hated it. In 2020 during the pandemic, in-person events across the globe were cancelled. The company quickly pivoted to virtual events. This included integration with platforms such as Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. A year later, following more investment, IRL reached unicorn status, as it was now valued over $1 billion. At this point, IRL boasted 20 million users, mostly Gen Z, middle American teenagers. It seemed like this app was going to be the next hottest thing, but things were about to get messy and fast. Shafi's company was about to get exposed. Nicholas Grant, a software engineer, joined IRL in January of 2022. Two concerned co-workers would confide in Grant that something odd was going on behind the scenes. Within a few weeks, he would come to learn that many of the photographs shared on IRL were stock images, not user-generated photos. He also became aware of the discrepancies between the statistics on Google Play and IRL's publicly stated figures. Things got weirder still. On one day, an internal dashboard showed that almost all user activity within the United States disappeared. Suspiciously, at the same time, there was a large spike in Latin American traffic, with millions of users suddenly appearing in Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico. Countries which only had a few 100,000 users just a moment ago. Grant verified that this traffic was authentic. He also confirmed that there were no marketing campaigns targeting Latin America. There was only one logical conclusion. The vast majority of users on this platform were bots. After sharing his findings with the managers at IRL, Grant discovered that his role at the company suspiciously had been changed, and changed in such a way that the access that he had to internal data sources had been revoked. And then came the memo from the CEO himself, Abraham Shafi. It was addressed to the 100 staff of IRL. A quarter of the staff will be made redundant. Among those who didn't make the cut, of course, was Nicholas Grant. Following Grant's findings, in December of 2022, the SEC launched an inquiry into IRL. The company was accused of misleading investors when presenting their metrics. In turn, this led to Shafi being suspended in April of 2023, and this was on allegations of misconduct. In June of 2023, an investigation by IRL's board of directors revealed that a staggering 95% of those 20 million users were automated. The actual users on the app was closer to 1 million. As a result of the investigations into fake user accounts, IRL was dissolved with immediate effect. Assets were moved into a liquidating trust, and the investors' capital was returned. The IRL app was formally shut down on June 27, 2023. So what happens now? For the 1 to 2 million real users, they're going to have to find another way to meet each other in real life. As for the SEC inquiry, it's still ongoing, so we're going to have to wait for the legal cases to see what exact charges Shafi and the rest of management are going to face. All will have to be proven in a court of law. On July 5th, Shafi took to LinkedIn to make a public statement. In it, he claims that the report's findings were, quote, flat wrong, and that he, quote, continued to have confidence in their metrics. In an interview, he would explain that the differences between his figures and the external estimates come down to the majority of the user base being teenagers. He says that for privacy reasons, it's harder to track these users' data. But based on other things that he's said about the matter, it's hard to trust him. For example, Shafi would state that the external estimates didn't include web users. He claims that this made up 20% of IRL's usage. However, other external estimates don't agree. The monthly web visits would be about 270,000, far short of the millions he's claiming. So at this point, he's denying the allegations made against him. But it's not looking good. Isn't this all sounding familiar though? The downfall of IRL and its founder, Shafi, is the latest in a string of high-profile cases involving defrauding investors, the most recent of which we just covered. It was the infamous case of Charlie Javis. She's being accused of defrauding JP Morgan out of $175 million. And she did a very similar thing. The real user base of her platform was 300,000, but in the sale, she claimed that there was 4 million users. So why do all this? In the world of startups, there can be a culture of faking it till you make it. An app with a large number of users could mean hundreds of millions of dollars in investment. But why do they risk it? Especially if they know the consequences could be a lifetime in jail. Well, 1, it rarely is a lifetime, and 2, it could just be an intense pressure to deliver. Once investors are on board, they want to see growth. Genuinely growing an active user base is incredibly difficult. Some entrepreneurs may try to take shortcuts. But the one question that we all want to know the answer to is, how do these guys think that they can just get away with faking numbers? Eventually, people are going to find out. Maybe the fame and fortune is just too alluring. So that is the story of IRL, the social media app that promised to help friends meet in real life. Although it turned out that there were very few real-life users. We've got quite the collection of colourful characters now on ColdFusion. SBF, Charlie Javis, Elizabeth Holmes, Trevor Milton, Do Kwon, and now Abraham Shafi. Something tells me that this isn't going to be the last high-profile fraud case that we see. Now that the days of low interest rates and free-flowing cash may be behind us, investors are doing more due diligence. Perhaps the times of fake it till you make it may well and truly be over. And that's a good thing in my book. I'll leave you with a question. Think that there's more fraud happening? Or are we just getting better at identifying it? If more fraud is happening, why do you think that is? Feel free to discuss in the comment section below. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to see stuff on science, technology or business, take a look around ColdFusion. Alright, so my name is Dagogo and you've been watching ColdFusion, and I'll catch you again soon for the next episode. Cheers guys. Have a good one.
ColdFusion. It's new thinking.